So prior to FULLSTACK, I was working as a consultant in Washington, D.C. for a couple years. And I started dabbling in coding through online courses, ended up taking a bootcamp prep course, and then once I figured out that I wanted to pursue coding full-time, I started researching bootcamps and found FULLSTACK. There were a few things that I was looking for in a boot camp. The main thing that I settled on was a boot camp that focused on full-stack JavaScript, which is what FULLSTACK Academy teaches. So I knew that there was a fit right there. I also really enjoyed a prominently advertised philosophy from FULLSTACK that's our no asshole policy, which I really identified with. And then I also ended up getting a $2,000 scholarship to FULLSTACK, which made the decision pretty easy. Following graduation, a lot of people began the job search. I know there are some people who end up starting their own companies. I decided to become a teaching fellow at FULLSTACK. So a lot of boot camps offer teaching fellowships or teaching assistant programs after graduation. At FULLSTACK, the program is 13 weeks long, which is the same length as the program itself. It's a paid fellowship, and it's selective. We have to interview while we're still students in order to become fellows afterwards. The purpose of teaching fellows is not to be used in place of instructors. There's still a lot of instructor support for each student as they go through the program. Teaching fellows are really supplemental to the instructors. So there are three primary responsibilities for fellows. The first and primary responsibility, obviously, is helping the students and assisting the instructors as they're working with students. The second is conducting technical interviews for prospective candidates who want to come to FULLSTACK. And the third is working on actual code for FULLSTACK's learning platform, which is called LearnDots. There's also a lot of emotional support that goes into being a fellow. We try to serve as mentors to the students in it as best we can. So we know that at times they'll feel stressed, they'll be worried about the job search. So any support that we can provide on that front to just make them feel more comfortable throughout the program, that's also part of why we're here. So there's this myth that students become teaching fellows after they graduate the program because they're afraid that they can't get a job after they graduate, or that FULLSTACK Academy is trying to inflate its hiring statistics by hiring students as teaching fellows. In my experience, that's not the case, because the fellowship is it's a selective program. First of all, you have to interview to take it. Students really have to want to become fellows. And you see the caliber of students that become fellows. I saw it when I was a student in my own teaching fellows. They were excellent programmers, and most of them have gone on to secure really good, really cool jobs after finishing their fellowship. And there's also this aspect of is FULLSTACK padding its hiring statistics? But fellows don't technically graduate until they finish their fellowship. And then once they secure a job post-fellowship, that's when they're included in FULLSTACK's hiring statistics. When I was in college, I was an orientation aide for new students, freshmen and transfers. And I found that really rewarding. I think I just like being part of this transitional moment in people's lives. Having only recently learned how to code myself, I understand where the students are coming from, what they're experiencing as they're going through the program. So there is downtime to work on personal projects, update your resume, your LinkedIn, start getting your name out there for jobs, and like jumpstart the job search process. It's important to have a portfolio because it's really a showcase of what you can do for employers. I think a lot of employers like to see candidates who have built stuff, who have solved real problems, and who are comfortable like exploring technologies and putting them together. I started with my capstone project from when I was a student, which was an augmented reality game where users have to like capture bananas. It's kind of fun. So I started by making some improvements to that project. I've also done a lot of little things like putting together my portfolio website. Fellows are encouraged to work on LearnDot, which is FULLSTACK's dedicated teaching platform. It's really cool because it gives you the chance to work on a production level code base. It's basically you working in a professional environment before actually entering the professional world. So you work with FULLSTACK's head of engineering, as well as some of the instructors who also do work on the platform. I think what's made me better as a programmer is my ability to articulate technical concepts and debug code, because a lot of our job is stepping in on help tickets, looking at this code that we haven't written, someone else wrote it, but we have to immediately recognize what the student was trying to do, where they went wrong, and then get them back on track. And I think that's a lot of what we'll be expected to do in the professional environment, because when you start at a company, they have a code base already. It's laid out for you, so you have to very quickly get acquainted with it in order to start contributing to it. And I think being on the interviewer side of things and having to guide an interviewee through a technical problem towards a solution gives me a lot more confidence heading into interviews. Yeah, so I definitely think a coding boot camp, as well as the fellowship, is a worthwhile experience for a couple of reasons. First being that it would have taken me a really long time to get to this point on my own if I was trying to teach myself. And the second reason is that there's a lot of thought that goes into the curriculum here at FULLSTACK and the technologies that they teach. So React, Redux, Node.js, I know that these are all technologies that are in demand, that employers want to see. I think there's a lot of professional benefits that you can get out of it, from working on personal projects or working on FULLSTACK's teaching platform to becoming more fluent technically, being able to better articulate technical concepts. The tech community is different than the consulting community. The meetup scene is like non-existent in the consulting community. It's not really anything that I was familiar with prior to coming to FULLSTACK, and that's a lot of what the career services team here at FULLSTACK emphasizes, is preparing students for like the job search process. Whether it's technical interviews, networking, going to meetups, that sort of thing, really getting involved in the tech community. So I'm excited to put those skills to work in the job search.